Hello, Apps here from Dimp Digital. Welcome to Idle Game Chat. On this edition, we are here to review Astro Bot Rescue Mission for PlayStation 4, PlayStation VR, as they call it. And the man who is here to review that particular game is Tom Adcock, not Adkins, but he's also obviously the reigning champ of the quiz.
Also, the only person who's actually bothered to buy a PSVR and keep it. So
yeah, you are, but you got it cheap, and Biff paid probably more than he did for his PS4, and then sold it on. In fact, it was a present for him, but I would imagine trading that in after that as a gift from someone. Like, if he gave that as a gift, I wouldn't be trading that in. I couldn't. I would be annoyed actually if someone did that. I don't know if you would have the bottle to trade something in that expensive that's been given to you.
I reckon once a month he has to sit with like a washing up bowl on his head and go, "Yeah, it's still playing, isn't it? It's wicked."
He doesn't know it's gone. It's still
it doesn't look the same. What?
Not plugged in. Gone wireless. It's brilliant. But you've been enjoying your little run through some of the PlayStation VR games. A lot of them are cross-platform, so you can get them on. You know the my brain's gone there. The other headsets, I can't even remember what they're called. Oculus Rift and the Vive.
That's it, yeah.
But this is a Sony exclusive, so published by Sony themselves and developed by SIE Japan Studio. Now, I had a little look for you because I thought you're not going to be doing the research on who these guys are. And I thought, this could be a particularly short one, but so to help pad it out, I would go through some of the games they have published and developed, mainly. They're mainly developers. So, Ape Escape, that's one on PlayStation, so 99.
Yeah, big game that, yeah.
They helped Team Ico to develop Ico. So,
cool.
They helped develop
Pedigree.
Shadow of the Colossus with Team Ico.
Nice.
Is it all making sense now why this is getting some hype?
Yeah.
They've helped Bluepoint in the development for the HD remasters of those. Last Guardian, they were involved with that. They produced Bloodborne with From Software. They've had a lot of hands in all sorts of games. Knack is something they developed outright, which I don't think anyone's writing home about, but they've been involved in a lot of fantastic games, and that was just a few that we've reeled off there. There's a ton more.
Well, a few of those are my favourite games of all time, mate.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah. Gravity Rush as well. That's another one on there. But yeah,
never heard of it, so blown it.
Let it down. But yeah, that's it. They're not developing them on their own, but they've just been helping and been around. So they've been quite that's a big studio. Not a big studio, but it's a studio that obviously Sony has relied on to get exclusives over the line, usually. And if you look at something like The Last Guardian, which was stuck in development hell for all that time, and then come back from the dead, and then they had to get Ueda back, didn't they? But his new firm was called Gen Design. I don't know if you remember that weird, like they got him back as a contractor, and it was all a bit strange. But they've then developed this PlayStation VR exclusive, Astro Bot Rescue Mission. I remember playing the demo of this. I don't even know if it's a demo. It might have just been a standalone sort of teaser or like a little prototype, and it was on like a disc called like PlayStation VR Worlds. I think it was one level, and I played it and I thought, yeah, this is good, pretty good actually. It's very short, and thought nothing of it. And then October last year rolls around, and we get Astro Bot Rescue Mission, which is like a full game, with multiple levels and worlds and all sorts, and it got so much hype. There were 9 out of 10s. There's 10 out of 10s. Like it's been scoring really well. By this point, you had not bought the PlayStation VR, had you? Because you got it over just like pre-Black Friday, from what I remember.
Yeah, that's it.
So this was already out. Did this game even help you in a decision buying it, or was you going to get one anyway? And this was just like a nice bonus that had come along like a month before.
Yeah, I think I knew this was out, and obviously it probably did add to me making the purchase, but I just kind of wanted to test out the VR, and I always knew I'd try and get it either, PlayStation entry level jobby, or go full hog and get a PC and master ace it. But this is just so much cheaper, isn't it? And in my head, I was like, well, it's probably going to be like a sort of Nintendo Wii Fit, like a bit of a novelty that I sort of bring out, plug in for like a couple of hours if people are around, and then it goes in the cupboard again and, comes out once a month. But yeah, like I'd done a little bit of research. I knew this was out and I knew I could get it packaged with this. And then there was a lot of games that I was like, I wouldn't mind giving that a go. And they were down to like £15 and below, basically. So I just thought, right time to get it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's sitting at an 89 on OpenCritic, so that's high for a VR game.
Yeah.
Considering for the longest time, VR games were interesting, but not necessarily good video games. They were just like experiences or...
Yeah, exactly. That's definitely the experience that I've had.
Because you've bought all sorts, haven't you? All sorts of little mini... I think you bought Battlefront for like £1 because it had like
VR
a VR
mission,
yeah, and bits and pieces like that. But it was good to finally see Sony, who have obviously got this headset. They've probably poured a fair amount of money into like R&D, research and development, and trying to get it up and out. It can't have been a cheap product to develop in terms of the tech. I don't think it's sold stonkingly well either. Like, it's done okay, but it's the price point was probably a pinch for Sony. So I guess they thought they have to give something back, and Astro Bot Rescue Mission arrives to wide critical acclaim. Now that sort of covers off the cards on the table, really, because there's no prequel or franchise here. It is just a brand new product that PlayStation have released, and a developer we've given you a little bit of insight of. They've got some good pedigree. But how does Astro Bot Rescue Mission work? Because in VR there are tons of ways you can get your game working. You can do first person, you can do sort of Overlord style where you can view a big map and pick up things. Do you use the move controls? How is Astro Bot Mission sort of structured? What sort of a game is it?
So it's probably the most traditional video game that I've played, like that's solely in VR.
Right.
So
you can't play it outside of VR. There's no option for that.
No. You can't play it any other way, and you can only use the standard PlayStation 4 controller. So that's it. That's your controls.
Those move controls are a good investment then.
They're a waste of money, mate. Someone in the Dimp crew, we got to get them. They had an extra 25%. One thing I found worked with them. London Heist. Load of old shit after once. Throwing a lighter at a fella's head for 25 minutes. What am I doing?
Yeah, but it's in the first-person games. That has to be the preferred way.
It's true, yeah. I have got a couple of other games lined up that do use them, but yeah, I mean they've not really seen much action, if I'm honest.
Oh dear! So it's like a traditional platformer then.
Yeah, traditional platformer in the control method, and really so. It's quite interesting because I guess you've had a little go of it. I'm assuming it's the same in that test demo. But so you both control like the main character in the game, the Astro Bot, in a third-person view. Think Super Mario 64, I guess.
Okay.
But then you're also like a character in the game. So you'll see the PlayStation 4 controller floating. You don't see your arms, but that's floating and will track with you wherever you go. And every now and again, you'll catch yourself, like your reflection in the water, in a mirror, or whatever, and you can see that you're yourself playing as like a robot that's helping the little fella Astrobot out. So you're always controlling him, but then you also might. This could basically the controller that you can see.
Yeah,
it will get upgraded on most levels basically. It's always pressing the main sort of I don't know what you call it, the trackpad in the middle generally. Yeah. So you might have like a water cannon, you might have like throwing stars, a gun, whatever. There's a bunch of different kind of add-ons that you'll get for the controller. So then whilst you're controlling him, there'll be like environmental obstacles or whatever that you'll have to navigate by doing some clever trick with the controller.
Gotcha. Is there any story to this? Like, I mean, this sounds like a stupid question to ask, but it's worth checking in to see if there's any form of narrative that you follow. I mean, if there is, I'm not expecting it to be the Last of Us levels of
Well, that's the funny thing. Like, going in, I would have thought exactly the same.
Yeah.
And I wasn't shocked. It's about the same level of par as Super Mario Brothers 1.
Right, so we're talking about Mario style, nice,
5
light-hearted.
minutes. I say 5 minutes set up, 30 seconds set up, and you're away, and then that's it. Don't get anything else,
So it's fair to say this is mainly like a gameplay experience, not going to hook you with your narrative. It's, the nuts.
Non-existent, mate.
Yeah.
It's all in the title. Rescue mission. You're rescuing some things. That's all you need to know. They're hidden throughout levels. That's basically as far as it goes.
Oh, Mario gets away with it and gets 10 out of 10. So
exactly.
We're not going to ding it for that. That's for sure. Strange one, because when we come to like presentation and performance, usually it's quite easy to describe one's graphics and whatnot, and how it performs. I find in VR, whenever I've played it, despite being impressed or immersed with the situation, that rightly or wrongly the graphics don't tend to stand out as a plus point. It feels like they're watered down to a certain extent. Is that the case with Astro Bot? And is it just something that's going to be present with the PlayStation VR because of the tech?
So do you know what, it's a good thing in that, rather than a lot of the VR experiences that I've looked at, which kind of go for an ultra realistic approach, which with the PlayStation VR headset, I think it's the sort of low end of the scale of what's out there on the consumer market, and the graphics definitely take a hit. Mm-hmm. Whereas this has gone sort of Nintendo route, where it's very cartoony, so it's arguably, depending on what you kind of like, the best looking game I've played in VR. Okay. Because it's obviously not trying to recreate real life. It's just a cartoon world, and you're in it, and it looks great, and excellent.
Do you have any problems with crashing or frame rate, or is that all run pretty smoothly?
No, nothing like that. I mean, I don't think it's stretching the sort of PlayStation itself very far. What I would say is probably a slight negative is that it's not the game. I think it's more the headset. What I would find is, as I play certain levels...
Yep.
Become further and further right. So I'd play a couple of worlds and I'd be looking sort of completely to my right hand side to see the screen. And you can always reset by just holding the start button.
Okay.
But it just didn't seem to ever work. Once you lost like true north, it never went back. So you kind of always had a bit of a creak in your neck. And that happened sort of 2 or 3 times. So it's probably worth pointing out. I don't know if it was just my setup, but I've not had the problem with any other game. But I would also say I've never played a game as long in VR as I did this, so difficult to say, but worth pointing out that and that when that did happen, that kind of cost me a bit. 'Cause get the old motion sickness going then once you kind of your head's all pissed and you're ratting along a level. It's not good.
Is there, I mean, this is another thing unique to VR, not unique to VR, but mostly common in VR, is motion sickness or feeling a bit rough. I remember when I played this on Playroom or whatever it was. No, that's where the robots people. Whatever PlayStation.
It was Playroom. You're right. Yeah.
Oh, okay. It was Playroom.
Yeah.
And and I remember it was only 10, 15 minutes tops, and then I got off it and I was a bit like, oh, I feel a little bit. There was games that night that turned me over worse than that, but that didn't help. Is that because of the style of the game, that is like a third-person platform where you're sitting still as a human, but the camera's probably moving forward as the character's moving as you're progressing through the world?
Yeah, well, to be honest, it was only when that kind of tracking went out that it cost me on this. I've definitely had like more... I mean, I do suffer from some motion sickness. I played the Battlefront mission and Jesus, I was a bit hungover and that really wiped me out. That cost me like 2 or 3 hours afterwards. So I had none of that with this. This is good. There is some kind of like, if you suffer from like vertigo, it plays a lot with like perspective. So he'll kind of jump down a huge hole and then spring up like in front of your eyes and go 60 feet in the air. So you can kind of get a bit of a, head rush, belly rush, whatever from that kind of thing. But other than that, it was absolutely fine. It was only when the tracking went, it sort of cost me. I think, I don't know if you've played any of the the Donkey Kong Country games.
Yeah.
But there was a level like on rails, like in a minecart or whatever, very much reminiscent of that. That did kind of give a bit of motion, but obviously then you are hurtling along, and you know he's kind of moving to your left, to your right, above you, below you. It is just a bit of a head fuck, really, that one. But
yeah, it's no easy way of solving it. I think either you're susceptible to motion sickness or you're not, and there's different severities of it. So if you're like me, I think I would get turned over quite easily at stuff. Whereas like we put Logan on like Riggs, which was the one that turned us all upside down, and he was fine. So sometimes it's not necessarily the game; it's just that human beings themselves, with their own unique quirks, either can stick it out or not.
Yeah, it just depends how robust you are, that sort of thing. You can't really knock something, I guess.
I used to get fucking car sick, so that's not... definitely VR would... You know, I was expected to really hurt me, and a couple of games did, but genuinely it's okay. It sounds like this was a little bit more manageable than others, because it's not constantly... You're not constantly roaring round on a...
Yeah, definitely. And to be honest, I find... I mean, I don't know what other people are doing, but I can never see myself sticking the helmet on for like 3 hours at a stint. No. Like I feel like an hour tops, and you're kind of like, right, done that, had enough.
Yeah, well, that kind of segues nicely into like the game structure in terms of you're perhaps playing 1 hour sessions. Like, how does the game work? Does that fit nicely playing a 1 hour session? Like, can you just get through a level or a world in that time? Is that how it works, or is it one big open world? How do you move and progress through?
So no, I mean, it's like I said, Mario's the best sort of like segue, whatever comparison. Thank you to this. So it's 5 worlds with 5 levels a world in it.
Okay.
Not open world at all. So you pick it's done like in Planet. So Planet 1's got 5 worlds, boss at the end, job done. Right. And for your question, it is perfect because you can like knock back like 2 or 3 worlds in an evening, call it quits, and then you're on again next time. And it probably takes. So they do get. There's quite a spike to the difficulty towards the end. But you're probably looking at 10 or 15 minutes a level, and then there's loads of your. So basically, you can go from point A to point B and finish the level, but then it's scattered around the world are I think it's 6 or I think it might be 8 actually of the little bots that you're rescuing. So they're all kind of hidden. So think again like Mario, you know, like there's the coins you need to get, and then there might be
or whatever.
Yeah, or Donkey Kong where there's the letters. Yeah. So these little guys are hidden.
Can't even read.
Yeah. They're hidden in like crafty like places basically. So it'll all be miles up in the air, round a corner, so you find yourself kind of bent, like leaning forward. You can hear it, they sort of shout to you when they're in the vicinity, and it's up to you to kind of like look around, and then it'll be a real sort of nasty bit of platforming to go and get them. So, and I think you probably need to get just over half out of a mission to then unlock the bosses at the end. Otherwise, you have to kind of go back through and find more of them. But once you figure out that that's what it takes, then, you know, it's fun looking for them, to be honest. So I kind of got most of them on every level, I think.
Yeah, I think that's the general structure, isn't it? For like we keep referencing Mario, but that's certainly something there. Like you'd collect, there might be 5 stars on a level, and if you got 3 of them, that's usually enough to, you know, open up the next world or whatever it might be.
Yeah, exactly that.
And so we've got 5 worlds and then a number of sub levels in there. Does each world have its own theme in terms of like landscape or environment, or are they all just sort of a bit jumbled together and it could be any old level that you jump on?
It's definitely more the jumbled bit. Like, so you'll get kind of like again, all the classic sort of stages, you know, snow levels, cave levels, underwater levels. Yeah. They're all there, but it's not like you've got a planet made of water. Which is kind of good, you know, because it's all really clever. Every time it loads into a new world, you're kind of like, right, what have I got now? Yeah. And they're all really good. They've all got their own like really sort of fun, like little environmental kind of quirks and things. And then your little controller will get upgraded in a different way. So it's kind of like you're constantly learning. You're constantly sort of wowed by what you're seeing because like it does look really nice, especially like the underwater levels. Like on some of them, you'll start like on a beach maybe, and then you'll get on like a vehicle that kind of takes you slowly under the water. Yeah. And as you kind of see yourself, you know, like VR kind of getting swallowed up by the water, and then there's that kind of switch in your vision, and all of a sudden, a little Astrobot fella's swimming next to you. Like it looks really nice. It really does. So it's really good. The levels are like fantastic, just to kind of be in and look around and enjoy.
Are they so is there enough variety there for the levels in terms of, like you said, water, snow, or whatever, or do they recycle those ideas?
No, I mean it's a good length basically. So 5 worlds, you never kind of get tired of what you get. You know, there might be like 3 water levels. There's probably 2 or 3 in a cave. There's 2 or 3 that kind of play with perspective, or you're up really high, so it kind of, you know, plays in your vertigo, that kind of thing. But no, none of them outstay their welcome, and none of them get like rehashed too often. It's a real nice balance basically. By the time you get towards the end, you're like, you know what, I could do another world, but also, yeah, I'm about right. This is wicked, and it's sort of ending at the right time.
Do you have any idea how long it took you to complete this, or clock it? Like, have you got any clue as to whether it's like a 5-hour game or more of a 5 to 10 hour game?
No idea. I'd say it's on the like, you could absolutely plow for it, but I would imagine sort of between 5 and 6 hours, that kind of thing. Like it's short, but it's got loads of replayability. The levels are so much fun. Like, and you know, it's a game where, if you think of like, I know I keep going back to like the sort of Mario comparison, especially like Mario 64, when it kind of changed perspective and some of the problems with cameras and, you know, jumping, tracking, like it's not easy to do. And this would have been a bloody nightmare if they'd got that wrong. But like, it controls perfectly, because sometimes you'll move with like the character, other times you'll be stationary. You can't choose this. It's all kind of like technically like on rails. So sometimes he'll like walk off into the distance, so he'll just be a tiny little dot. There'll still be loads of enemies coming for him, or, you know, some sort of little puzzle to work out or platforming to do, and then he'll kind of walk back, and then he might kind of walk completely over your head, so your control scheme is just completely changing as he kind of walks from left to right. And I thought it so many times. It's like, this could be such a nightmare. And then other times, like, your controller will have like a wire coming out of it, and he's balancing on the wire, and they're like really like, it's very forgiving. Like, he'll jump and, you know, you'll kind of just catch him. Like they everything's thought out. Nothing's kind of cheap. It kind of gives you a pass when it needs to give you a pass. It's really nice. So even though it's short, I could definitely see myself going back into this and having another go of it, like all the way through. Yeah.
Did you collect all the little bots at the end, or did you only get enough to crit path it and get through it, or is there still stuff if you want to go back to find them?
There's a few. Like I said, I'd say I've got about 80% of them, and like I would probably go back and try and find some of them. Are a right pain in it, because you can obviously hear them, so you know you're close. And sometimes you can see them, and it's just like, oh, actually, if I ever saw them, and then I'd always sort of get them then, because I'd be like, right, it can't be that hard to work out. But sometimes,
So you've mentioned how good the controls and sort of the mechanics of the game integrate well with VR. Anything to kind of pick up from in a negative fashion? Because one of the things that I've found in some other VR games is that precision sometimes isn't quite there when you need to do actions either with the controller or with the move controllers. It sounds like in this case that they've pretty much managed to balance that, and it works almost seamlessly with the VR technology.
Yeah, mate, it's absolutely spot on. He controls like perfectly. Like, just it's like, I mean, now you tell me the sort of caliber of games these guys have kind of helped with. It's no surprise. But again, you know, sometimes like, I don't know, like third party or like lower studios have tried to make these kind of games, and it's all right, but it's just a bit like clunky and wonky. It's not like that, you know. It's like sort of AAA sort of quality in terms of how it looks, how it feels. And like I said, I think that's the scores are evident of it, because anything like that could have really sort of cost this. And because it's, you know, like a big, huge cartoon world, the bosses are like, you know, as big as houses and things, so it's not like it needs complete precision, but every kind of add-on to your weapon just feels like very intuitive. Like, you know, you get a little demo of how to use it, but you wouldn't even need it. It's so obvious. And then controls are like absolutely first rate in this game, like, and they make the whole experience such a joy. The amount of people I've kind of just said, look, have a quick go at this, and like Sarah's brother played it. He's a moody bastard, I tell you, but like you're instantly smiling. Like it just works as you think it would work. It make like everyone's just like happy. Like the music's sort of like jolly and like, you know, typically sort of like Mario friendly, happy and stuff. And you're just in it and you're like, this is wicked. Like, and like constantly, every sort of couple of minutes, there'll be like a new mechanic. And yeah, like, I mean, they do get recycled a little bit. Like I said, everything's kind of on a 2 or 3 cycle. And so you will see it again, be like, oh yeah, this is like where I have to chop the cobwebs down, or this is where I have to kind of shoot a wire out for him to walk across. But they just like, they make you smile. You're like, this is so cool.
Yeah. So as you progress through, did you get all sorts of different abilities and like things to use, I guess?
It's not, there's no puzzle. So like every time you get something, it works for that level or that portion of the level, then it's taken away. You're back to kind of like the,
so it's not like
vanilla
a Metroidvania where you can keep hold of it and then you got to combine things or whatever.
Tell you what though, sequel there, so that's it.
Well, imagine that, like, if you go back with like new abilities and like get all the other little bots or little secrets. So again, give me a call, Sony, if you want some more ideas. That's sort of gold right there. You mentioned there's big bosses. We won't go into the bosses because I think there'll be slight spoiler territory. I think it'll be good for people to see these guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
When they first do it, because you've mentioned they're sort of big personalities.
Not going to do my classic and go, well, not a spoiler, but here we go.
Not a spoiler, but there's a massive Kratos boss right at the end. Oh god. Is there other enemies during the level that you have to be aware of and kill or avoid? Is there any sort of attacks that you can do?
So I should have said this. So your little guy at Astro Bot, he can either just like sort of punch, like swing his fist, punch them, and then he can do like a jump, and if you hold jump, like little thrusters come out of his boots. So if you're above an enemy while you're sort of powered up, you'll the boost from your boots will kill them as well. So you got 2 choices basically, and then the enemies, it's kind of like a timing thing, so they'll kind of go electric or they'll, you know, go into like a hyper mode or something where they can kill you. So it's just kind of getting your timing right really, or they'll be trying to attack you while you're on a small platform, that kind of thing. But there's tons of checkpoints. Like it never really becomes frustrating. And there is a difficulty spike towards the end, but you know, it's fun to replay anyway, and you always kind of know when you've done something, it's your fault. It's never really cheap or anything. It's just learning patterns, you know, all the classic kind of platform tropes, really.
Yeah, so there's no like, you don't have like a number of lives that if you run out it resets it, or it's just like a modern video game where you just checkpoint, you go back to that checkpoint and retry that section. Yeah, exactly.
Just keep going. So yeah, as many times as you want. I think the only time where it does kind of set you back is on a boss. If you die on a boss, they might be in stages and you'll go back to the very beginning. So but they're usually like, you know, really good fun, and most of the things like they know what's kind of fun. So like every time you beat a boss, for instance, that'll become like an unlock, like a challenge will unlock where you can just go and fight him again and again. Or like if it's like a minecart level, that will unlock. So that's pretty cool. You know, I haven't even looked at those, but you've got then a whole kind of like Jupiter ring or Saturn ring or whatever of like challenge levels. I must be like 20 or 30 of them, like just really sort of like it will take like one little part of the level and turn it into its own little challenge event.
Excellent. There's a lot of meat to this game, despite, like you said, the running time being between 5 and 6 hours potentially, depending how good you are. There's still stuff that you can go back to, and if you want to re-experience it or find the other bots or do one of these challenge modes, there's modes there that have unlocked, which sounds good, because it feels like a lot of the stuff on the VR market is like one and done, right, I'm out there, the experience is finished in an hour tops, and then we move on to the next one. So
that's exactly it. Yeah, like even like say for that Battlefront one, like it's really good. I'm like, why haven't they made that a full game, or why the hell wasn't there more levels in Battlefront 2? But also I played it once, I'm like, I'm never going to do it again. I've shown a couple of people, that's it. Whereas this is a video game, this, you know, you could play it, you know, it's really good, really good.
Before we get into your closing thoughts and the final verdict, any other business that we haven't covered about Astro Bot Rescue Mission that you wanted to mention? Any sort of like weird quirks or anything like that you wanted to mention? Otherwise, we will move on and find out exactly what this game's going to score.
No, I think that's everything, mate. I just, it looks good, plays really well. Only like negative I can say about it at all is maybe the runtime. If you kind of want a 30-hour VR experience.
Who wants that?
Exactly. Who's going for that? But Skyrim, they've done that. Resident Evil.
Oh.
That's what I'm talking about. 12 hours of terror. No, all really good. And the only thing was the tracking, which, like I said, I don't know if I could even say it's a negative because it might be my shoddy setup skills. So
it's hard,
no
isn't it,
idea.
those things? It sounds like it was only happened a few times anyway. So come on then, what's your closing thoughts and then final verdict, including Astro Bot Rescue Mission's official grading?
So, final comment would be, not quite sure if this is the sort of killer app for VR just yet.
It's got to be.
But if you've got a VR set and you haven't got this game, you're a mentalist. Like, what are you waiting for? Because I don't know if I can say this is it's not worth 220 quid or whatever a VR headset is to play. But yeah, if you're sitting there sort of wanking over Batman or going to CEX in Southend High Street and buying Battlefront, do yourself. So this is like head and shoulders above
this is
any
big boy shit.
Yeah, this is the real deal. This is really, really. Bottom line is, it's just a really good video game. Whether it's it happens to only be playable in VR, even if like they turned it into a 3D game, I'm sure it'd still be very, very good.
Excellent. Well, it's sounding positive. What's the official grading for Astro Bot Rescue Mission?
I always forget how these grading things work, mate. What is it? Gold, silver, bronze?
No, numbers, isn't it? And then
10.
if whatever number you choose, it gets that.
And is it points or numbers?
No point, just whole numbers only.
Right. So Astro Bot Rescue Mission, PlayStation VR,
exclusive.
So
if you've bought one of the other expensive ones, you're up the creek without a paddle, unfortunately.
It's a 9.
Excellent. Gold for Astro Bot Rescue Mission. Arguably the best VR game on the market, from what you've played anyway.
Well, that's it, yeah. And that's why it gets such a good score. Because, I mean, it is what it is. It is a VR exclusive. And it's the benchmark as far as I'm concerned. So it deserves it. It's runtime's great, as we said. Like, maybe it's not that long, but it's quality, not quantity. It's just... It's spot on. Yeah, absolutely amazing.
I don't think this ever came out as a £45 game either. I think it's always been sub that. So, you know what you're paying for. You've mentioned and referenced Mario a few times during this review, in particular Mario 64, and even referenced that Mario 64 was sort of a breakthrough moment for 3D, not just platformers but games in some aspects, in that it kind of broke down barriers for the medium. Is it over the top to say Astro Bot Rescue Mission is doing that for VR, or has done that for VR, or is that a legitimate claim that Astro Bot may have paved a way for others to follow?
Yeah, I mean, that's how I feel playing it. Like, that's the only thing I could liken it to, was just like, Jesus, this is like really impressive. Like, it looked great and it was super fun, whereas some of those experiences kind of they do wow you a bit, but you're like you say, like they're one and done. So like, you're hyped up. You talk about people like for the afternoon or the night you played it, and then you never think of it again. This was different. Like this, like I said, it made me smile. Maybe I just loved every moment of being in there, to the point where really I was playing it as like a second game to, I think, Red Dead or whatever, but I just didn't want it to finish. I would literally play one level a night just to kind of style it out. I think the only difference between this and something like Mario is the fact that the actual base of players who are ever going to get to experience this is just going to be a fraction. So it's such a shame, I think, that this wasn't the launch game for the VR. I mean, I know VR had a lot of hype, but if it actually had a game you could play, like a proper game, then it would have been really. Well, I don't know how popular it would have been. It was this big asking price, the price tag on that VR when it first came out. So really.
No. I mean, it's a tough one, isn't it? I mean, it's taken till 2018 for this to arrive, so maybe the ideas just weren't there. I mean, they had like I said, a very small demo that you could play of it, so there was something there. They couldn't come out of a bang for it, but they certainly gained a lot of hype. And I would imagine people who have missed this are maybe thinking, well, the headsets, they're not cheap, as you found out, but they're not as extortionate as what they were when they first come out. Like at launch, it was almost what, 350 quid, I think it was, and that was without
I think you can,
camera and all that stuff, and it was just a bit too much. But you've kind of got it at a decent time when it was, reduced, and now you've got a back catalogue of games there. One of them happens to be Astro Bot Rescue Mission, and I'm assuming you're feeling good about this purchase, because it could have gone horribly wrong, couldn't it? The PlayStation VR, it could have been, wow, that was it was interesting, but in terms of quality, you've not really been fulfilled. No,
exactly. The bottom line is, it's what, like you say, got it in back end of October, or I can't remember, November, October time. And, I mean, I know it's only February, but I'm still playing on it. Like, it's, I've got, like I said, a catalogue of games lined up, like some experiences still. I've got Moss, which is apparently is pretty good. Yeah. I can go through Resident Evil again. I've got a Skyrim that I've never touched any, in VR or normal. So I've got that waiting to be played. I've got Batman VR. Most of those games cost under a tenner, it's pretty good. They were all on like the VR. Most of them are just, and Tetris Effect, of course, another one that's meant to be pretty good. And almost all of those are off the PlayStation Store, downloaded over like January, Christmas, when it was cheap. So if you're kind of sniffing, I would say it's probably the best time. PlayStation 5 hasn't been announced. There's plenty of games now. They're cheap, and the headsets, it probably will go down again, but it's pretty cheap.
Is there any worry that the PlayStation 5 will bring a PlayStation VR 2 or something like that? Is that a concern for you? And if that did happen, and say things weren't cross-compatible, would you even consider buying the PlayStation VR 2, this hypothetical machine that I've made up?
Cool, I don't know. That's tough, isn't it? I mean, what I want to see is PlayStation 5, £500 packaged with either VR or the VR 2, sort of like the Connect or whatever it was called, PlayStation Move or whatever. If they can do that, that would be incredible. I mean, that's a big ask, admittedly, but if they could, if it is this headset that can be, I don't know, like cross-compatible or upscaled or something, or if even if it is a bit of it would look terrible against the PlayStation 5 though, but whatever, if they could make that work, that'd be amazing. If they can't, then it's a difficult ask, isn't it, really? Like, it would have to have something special to make me go out and pay, I'm guessing, between like £300 and £500 for a headset or something on that console.
Yeah. The Last of Us 2 VR exclusive.
Imagine that.
Unbelievable move. Checkmate, Sony say.
Exclusive content levels. Don't unlock the real ending unless you get it in VR.
No. Fucking Resi all over again.
I'd love to see like your little face melt down at that.
I wouldn't. I'll just go and get it and
send you back instantly.
like do one of those things where you just power through it a whole weekend, like Friday off, Monday off. Don't come out of the room until it's done Sunday night, and then take it all back Monday and say fuck you, I've beaten you and won it. But I hope they don't do that, because it feels like it's just picking up momentum. Like in the last year, in particular, the back end of it, picking up momentum and getting some games that people are like, oh, actually, these are good video games, not just, oh, it's fun to pick up a tomato and throw it at someone in VR.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's funny though, isn't it? Because you've got like I said, the Battlefront EA, they made that level. I think it got really good. Like basically, when I got the headset, I Googled obviously what's the best games in VR, and that level came up as being a cracker. So I got it. I was like, this is really good. But then they've just been that. They go, nah, don't need it. Put some more loot boxes in. Don't worry about the VR stuff. Unlock Vader with 7,000 hours of like play, or $24.99. But like, and then same by From Software made a VR. I haven't even looked at that, a VR experience.
Oh yeah,
spiritual successor to Bloodborne.
No, it's not.
Mate, it is. There's Easter eggs. It's the real deal. Gascoigne lurking.
Nice.
But yeah, like they've done that, and I don't know if there's any. I don't know if they're going to do anything else. It's funny. It's like the studios are doing what we're doing as consumers. They're kind of having a little play around, going, "Well, what else you got? Yeah, what else you got?
It is tricky.
Yeah.
You've got some other games on that you mentioned Moss. You've got there, and also Tetris Effect. Obviously, I don't want you to review of those games, but at some point in the future, if you finish them, we'll get you back on. But is there any other games that you've seen in terms of like anticipation lists or stuff that you've missed and want to go back to that you've seen, or is it like Moss, Tetris Effect, and after that it's a bit like right?
Scrabbling after that, really. From? Yeah, I've got those lined up, and then I might, if I was to get through them and there was nothing on the horizon, I'd probably boot up Skyrim and have a look at that. Like I said, I've never played it. I can't imagine doing 120 hours in VR, so that's probably just going to be a little mess about and call it a day.
Yeah.
I might go through Resi chapter at a time. I don't know how. I've played the first mission, and that was fucking. I'd done it before, and that was a bit. That's full on that in VR. So
yeah,
we'll see. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like a good time to have a PlayStation VR. So Biff, you've fucking blown it by giving yours away. Well, you didn't give it away, traded it in, but you've profited from this. So Astro Bot Rescue Mission, perhaps the catalyst that will pave the way for other great VR experiences. But cheers for that, Mr. Adcock. We will be back, I assume, at some point in the future. And if you've got any more VR game completionists that you've done, then give us a shout and we'll get you back on, because I think these are interesting chats.
Will do, mate. No worries.
Cool. Everyone else, thanks for your time, and ta-da. That's Crufts. Sort of...
Get that dog out of my sight.